was 2:47 a.m. when Emily's phone began to ring. The sound pierced through the heavy silence of her dark apartment, echoing off the walls like a warning. Half asleep, she reached for the phone on her nightstand, squinting at the screen. It was an unknown number, but something deep inside her twisted when she saw the name that popped up beneath it. Sarah, her sister. She answered immediately, but there was no voice on the other end. Only a faint, trembling breath. "Sarah," she whispered, her voice cracking with sleep and unease. Then came a sound that made her blood run cold, a distant, muffled scream, followed by a heavy thud. The line went dead. Emily sat frozen, staring at her reflection in the dark window. Sarah lived 2 towns away, in the old family house they grew up in. It had always felt haunted after their parents died, but Sarah had insisted on staying. She said she liked the quiet, that she could still feel their mother there. Emily had warned her to move out, to leave that house behind. Now, as the silence settled once more, Emily felt that same house calling her back. By 3:30 a.m., Emily was on the road. The highway stretched endlessly ahead, swallowed in fog. Every mile felt heavier, every turn tighter. Her hands gripped the steering wheel like it was the only thing keeping her tethered to sanity. She kept replaying that phone call in her mind, the breath, the scream, the thud. It didn't sound like fear. It sounded like someone being dragged. When she finally reached the house, the porch light flickered weakly, barely cutting through the darkness. The door was slightly open. "Sarah," Emily called softly, stepping inside. The air was heavy, thick, with the smell of damp wood and something metallic. Blood. The living room was in disarray, furniture knocked over, glass shattered across the floor. Emily's eyes darted from shadow to shadow, heart hammering in her chest. Then she noticed something carved into the wall near the staircase. A single word, "Help." Tears burned her eyes as she climbed the stairs. "Sarah, please answer me," she cried. But the only reply was the groan of the old floorboards under her feet. When she reached Sarah's bedroom, she found the door locked from the inside. Emily banged on it, desperation consuming her. "Sarah, open the door." Then footsteps. Slow, dragging footsteps, coming from inside the room. Emily's pulse spiked. "Sarah, is that you?" The door creaked open an inch, just enough for her to see an eye staring back at her through the gap, wide, glassy, and utterly void of life. Before she could react, the door swung open completely, and Sarah stepped out. But it wasn't really her anymore. Her skin was pale, almost gray, and her hair hung over her face, dripping with what looked like water. Her nightgown was torn, soaked from the waist down. "Sarah," Emily whispered, backing away slowly. Her sister tilted her head, the corner of her mouth twitching. "You came back." Her voice was soft, but layered like 2 people speaking in unison. Emily froze, trying to make sense of what she was seeing. Sarah, or whatever this thing was, moved closer, her bare feet leaving wet footprints on the wooden floor. "It wanted me to stay," she said. "Now it wants you too." turned to run, but the hallway seemed to stretch longer and longer with every step. The walls pulsed, as if breathing. She stumbled, scraping her hands on the floorboards, but when she looked up, she was no longer in the house. She was in the basement. How? She didn't even remember opening the door. The basement was cold, lit only by the dim glow of a single bulb swinging overhead. The air was thick with the smell of rot. In the far corner, she saw a pool of water reflecting the light. And there, beneath the surface, something moved. She stepped closer, trembling. The water rippled, and a face appeared. Sarah's face, not the one she had just seen upstairs, but her real face, peaceful, lifeless, eyes open in eternal fear. Emily screamed. The reflection smiled. Suddenly, arms burst out of the water, grabbing her ankles and dragging her down. She kicked and fought, but the grip was unrelenting. Her lungs filled with icy water as she sank into darkness. Then a flash. The moment their mother died. The fights they had after. The guilt she buried deep. When Emily's eyes opened again, she was lying on the basement floor, drenched, coughing up water. The pool was gone. The basement was empty. She stumbled upstairs, sobbing, only to find the house perfectly still, clean, untouched, as if nothing had happened. Her sister's picture hung on the wall. Beneath it, a small note read, "I couldn't let her go." Emily's hands shook as she read it again and again. Then she heard the sound of a phone ringing upstairs. She followed it back to Sarah's room. On the bed lay her old cell phone, cracked and dusty. The screen lit up with an incoming call. The name displayed, Emily. Her stomach dropped. The call was coming from her own number. When she answered, all she heard was her sister's voice, soft, trembling, and echoing from somewhere far below. "It's waiting for you." The line went dead. Outside, dawn broke, painting the sky in soft hues of orange and pink. The house looked peaceful, even beautiful from the outside. But in the basement, beneath the cold concrete, the water began to ripple again.